Okay.
12 months ago, what did you see when you looked ahead? What was your vision for 2025? Now here we are, a few weeks away from the end of the year, and the question is, what happened? Did it go the way you planned? Did you hit your stride? Or did life throw curveballs you never saw coming? What did you set out to do? Did you stay on track? Or did your path twist, evolve, or even unravel at times? Did you discover something better than you imagined? Or are you still searching for what truly matters to you? Pause with us for a moment. Breathe. Reflect. What did you learn about yourself this year? What are you proud of? Even if no one else saw it. Where did you show up differently? And what would you do differently in 2026? Your vision isn't a fixed destination. It's a living intention. This is your moment to recalibrate, reconnect, and realign. Because 2026 is coming, and it's a blank canvas. What will you do with it?
Good morning, everybody. Great to be here again. It's the end of November and December's upon us. It's time for us all to go on holiday, to relax. But right now, what has happened this year? At the beginning of this year, we all looked at, our New Year's resolutions, what we wanted to achieve in our lives this year. And during one of our sessions, we actually asked the question, look forward until this time of the year, November, end of November, early December, and see where you want to be at the end of 2025. And now we are here. So now it's time to reflect to see, have we actually achieved our goals? So what I'm going to do today, we're going to have a discussion and we're going to talk amongst ourselves about, have we achieved our goals and our visions for 2025? And what have we learned from that? So enjoy the discussion and welcome to the Vision 2025 show. So I'd like to just welcome Glenn, Russell, and Wilhelm. Mona, unfortunately, cannot be here today. She's had operation yesterday, but she's well on her recovery and all's well. So she's unable to join us today, though she would have loved to have joined us. So apologies for that. But anyway, we're here, and we are here to give you some insights and understanding of where we are. And it's time for you to reflect on where you are as we go through these questions. So the first one I want to do is go around the room and ask for a one-word check-in on how your year actually was. So I'm going to start with Glenn. Morning, Glenn.
Good morning, David. Good morning, gentlemen on the panel, and whoever's listening at the moment, good morning to you too. Can't believe that we literally sit at the end of November already. Like, boom, time is gone. My one word would probably be the word purposeful. Purposeful.
That's fantastic. Fantastic, Glenn. We're going to learn a little bit more why it's purposeful for you just now. Right. Let's go to Russell. Russell, what's your one word?
Morning, everyone. Morning, co-hosts and David. My one word is definitely enlightened.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's a lovely word. I'm looking forward to learning more about that, why it was insightful. Let's go to Wilhelm. Wilhelm, what is your one word?
Good morning, everybody. Yes, it's nice to be here, to see all of you again. My one word is better.
Oh,
better. Actually, it's good, better, best. But let's
Fantastic. Well, welcome, Wilhelm. Great to have you here. We'll find out more why it's like that for you. So, for me, I think this year was a challenge for me, and that's my word, challenge. It was a challenge, but let's see how it goes. All right. So let's go to our next question. And while we go through these questions, I'd like each of those of you who are listening to actually reflect about what your one word would be for this year. And as we go through the questions, try and answer those questions yourself, because that's part of the learning experience that we all have. So I'm going to now ask the panel, the next question was, at the end of 2024, we all set out our New Year's resolutions or our visions or our goals for this year. And I'm going to ask each of us what that was. What were they actually? So let's ask Glenn first. Glenn, what were your vision and what were your goals to achieve by the end of this year?
Thanks, David. I'm going to focus specifically around Vision 2025 and what we want to do for this particular platform. And then if there's time, we'll chat about other things as well. But for me, I think 3 issues were involved here. Number 1 is obviously grow the following, which is pretty obvious. Number 2, to give opportunity to other people, other business owners to actually showcase their business, which I believe we've done. And obviously exposure for all of us in the panel as well, which I really believe has also taken place. Certainly has happened for me. And I'm not too sure about Russell and Valena, but I know definitely for David, it's definitely been a major exposure for him too. There's so much around here that speaks to Map for Life on the 7th point in terms of the wheel of life, and that is social responsibility, about giving out to the community. And that's pretty much what we've done. And so kudos to you, David, specifically in terms of really, running this thing in the background. So we really appreciate you. And that's me very much.
Thank you, Glenn. Let's go to Russell. Russell, what were your goals and your vision at the end of 2024 that you made for 2025?
I had 2, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions because they don't last. I had 2 fundamental beliefs that I had to change. And they were very simple, but what happened was they actually led me to having a year that I can only say, wow. If I look back at this year and I see what's been accomplished and what I'm busy with, it's totally just mind-blowing. So the 2 things that I said to myself was, I'm going to learn to say no. It's not always about money. It's not always about fame and fortune. Sometimes you just have to take a step back and say no if it doesn't align with who you are, where you want to go, and so forth. So that was the one thing. But also, I'm also the type of person that will do things and just put a lot more on my plate, but there will not be a benefit out of it. So the second one, that led into the second one, is we also decided that I was not going to do things for free anymore unless the long-term goal was beneficial for my company. And I took myself out of that. I said, what is beneficial for OrbSpec? Because it's easy if I have to look at it myself, then obviously, you want this and you want that. I can't. I have to be objective. So I went into this year with 2 major projects, one being the sales side and one being, at that stage, I was trying to do an acquisition for a client of mine on a brand. But I've ended up at the end of the year with, I think it was 11 different projects that I'm busy running. And the no, don't say no, or learn to say no, actually has changed, where I've become and I'm quite happy to call myself an opportunist, because when there's opportunity, I take it. If it's beneficial to my family, beneficial to my company, and beneficial to me. So all these projects are somehow, sometimes interlinked, but not all of them. So that was my year. My year started off very under the radar, just trying to find balance. And where it's led me to is a total wow experience looking back at what this year has been. It's been probably one of the best years I've had, for multiple reasons, which we'll get to. So, that's me looking back on 2025. Thanks, David.
Thanks, Russell. Wow, well done. Well, Helen, let's hear from you.
Yeah, thank you, David. Yes, it's a big question, that. but yeah, last year I said to myself, I want to focus more on myself, in a sense, to camp and to see places and to do things with my wife, and just to also think about that part of life, not just work, but also do the rest. And we did it. We camped more. We did some fun things, visit some nice places. So that I achieved. And work-wise, yes, there's clients that I work with that last year I did not have. This year it was a better year. As I said, my word is better, and even best. I can say it's my best year ever. And so I definitely achieved things. Okay, there are also some other elephants that came along and that sidetracked myself, and there's lots of things. Sometimes I think I sit with this ADHD, whatever that thing name, ADHD. I don't believe too much in all of those things, but I think I'm so sidetracked so often with things that I must really work on that in the next year, to focus more on specific things, because you can't hit a ball if you don't focus on it. Then you miss it. So that's important. But okay, maybe we'll talk about that a bit later. But I definitely achieved things, and I think it was a good year. And it still is. The year is not finished, so there's still a lot of things to be done.
Yeah, we've still got a month to go, so that helps. So from my side, one of the things that I wanted to do was to actually stop doing stuff myself. I couldn't do everything myself, so I got myself an accountant to do my accounts, which was a good thing because I dislike admin totally. I was then the other point was to stop doing things, not to say no, but to stop doing things for others that had no benefit to myself. Last year and the year before that, I was very involved with certain projects where I was basically working for other people and actually working on their goals rather than working on mine. And one of the things I said to myself for this year, for 2025, is that I'm actually only going to work on my own. And even though it was difficult and challenge, because these people would come to me and say, David, don't you want to help me with this? Or David, don't you want to do this? And I would have to say, no, not really. I don't want to do that. And I actually did it, which was fantastic. And I think that's led me to start really focusing on what I need, and then also seeing what I'm not good at and actually giving that out to other people to do. And I think that's, and the other thing that I set myself to do is to actually give the responsibility away to other people to do things. That was one of the big things I wanted to do, to actually let go, stop being in control of everything, stop being a control freak in a way. And so that was my goals that I wanted to do. As far as physical things were concerned, I wanted to buy a house down at Pringle Bay, and we put in an offer and it just didn't happen. And it's actually for the best it didn't happen when I reflect on it. But it was all kind of, let's go and buy a house in Pringle Bay. I moved down to the Western Cape and and it was all excitement and so on. And anyway, the offer fell through. We didn't get that. But the issue is, yes, maybe we can discuss that on the next discussion, next round. But so there's certain things that I identified, the physical things that didn't happen. But overall, I think what I did set out to do, I have achieved, and we'll talk about in the next round, which I'm going to ask Glenn about. So, Glenn, looking back now at the year, I mean, and I see you focusing on Vision 2025. Did you achieve what we set out to do, and how did we achieve that?
Well, again, let me speak about Vision 2025. I know that you'd set a particular goal for a certain amount of people as followers, and which we've actually achieved already even before the end of the year. And so that's the type of thing that took place. For myself personally, this was really just more about exposure than anything else, and just to give back to the community and give information out to people. And I have a mission statement, which is simply to make a positive impact in people's lives, challenge and excel in every sphere of life. And really, that's what I do on a daily basis. That's my goal. That's who I am. That's my purpose. And so this whole vision 2025 going into 2026, etc., and into the future is exactly that. That's what it does for me. And so as far as that's concerned, I've definitely achieved it. I think if I look at other aspects of my life in terms of my own business, the mentors coaching, the public speaking that I do, I've done a lot more public speaking over this past year, which I wanted to do and attained. I've spoken to people overseas, which I wanted to attain, and things like that. It's really happened. And the fascinating thing to me is yesterday, which was the day before, I pulled out a document which I had in my file, which I'd actually written at the end of 2024, and I'd written down 16 specific items that I wanted to achieve or actually do as far as goals are concerned, and then I set out to actually do that. The fascinating thing is I actually forgot about that. And I looked at the paper and I started crossing off the things that I'd actually achieved. And 9 out of the 16 things I've actually achieved. And the other numbers that were not achieved yet were actually pretty minor issues. And I thought to myself, well, is it really necessary in any case? So it's quite fascinating how one can actually go through a period of time and you think right now, this is so important. But as you travel on in time and you get to a point where other things are obviously far more important. I think what Willem spoke about as well, spending time with family, that type of thing. It, to me, is far more important at this point in time in my life than, rushing around and making this massive career. Although that's also important. But so it's things like that have taken place. When I spoke about purposeful earlier on, I literally believe in living life on purpose on a daily basis. And so I look at the smaller issues around what took place in that particular day and just enjoy life. And for me, this whole year was more about resting in the things that I do, which sounds very strange, I know. And I'd probably need at least about half an hour to actually explain that properly. But for me, it's really about not rushing to the extent that I'm striving all the time. That white knuckle, I was tired of doing that. I'd done that for many years in my life, and I was just tired of it. And I wanted to just have a year where I could actually enjoy things, enjoy life, enjoy my family, enjoy my kids, enjoy the things that I do, enjoy my sport, etc., etc. And that's exactly what's happened. And so that's really been a great year. Thanks so much.
Fantastic, Glenn. Thank you. Great. Let's ask Russell the same question, Russell. So looking back, did you actually achieve what you'd set out to do, and how did you achieve that?
Like I said, right in the beginning, I had small goals. I didn't have huge ideas. At that stage, I was trying to, like I say, get the acquisition going for a client. So that was my main goal. And I really believed that, it was going to happen and she was going to qualify for the loan and so forth. That didn't happen, but it was not due to lack on my side as far as what I put in, but just purely she didn't qualify for the loan. I then went, and it changed totally, because then I put my hat into the mix, and I put an offer to purchase, which I've still been going on for the last 9-10 months now. But we'll talk about that with the next question. So my whole game plan that started, which was very, very small, blew totally out of proportion. And the question that I keep on asking myself is why? Why all of a sudden, where I was involved, actually there's 3 projects, CTAP being one of them. But all of a sudden, doors opened up. All of a sudden, people came to me and people introduced me to new things and wanted me to be part of those new things. And I saw opportunities and had meetings with people and put things on the table, and things started happening, and all of these other projects started coming. And I think it's because my mind shift had changed last year. Middle of last year, I had a mind change where I sat down and made a list of the income for the different companies I have done over the 35 years that I've been running companies and being in sales and so forth. And I went and did an estimated value. And I wouldn't say it was a out of ordinary value, but it was an estimated value. And I realized that I had done hundreds of millions for people, and I never did it for myself. And my mind shift changed it right there. I'm saying, what's the difference actually doing it for myself or doing it for someone else? Because people say, yeah, it's not your risk because it's not your money. It's always been my risk because that's who I was. I've always run companies as though they belong to me. So I didn't, and that's what made me successful when I was in the corporate environment. And I think my mind shift that changed. I started opening myself to all opportunities. So like Lena's got a code that he lives by. Mine is, how difficult can it be? I'm not a rocket scientist, not because I don't have the abilities, because I didn't study. So how difficult can anything be? In actual fact, it's not difficult. If you put your mind to it and you go and do the research, it's not that difficult. And my year has become one of, I have accomplished things that I never set out to accomplish. I never had this vision that I want this. Things just came and it just perpetuated into being, and a lot of them haven't launched yet. A lot of these projects haven't launched, but we're in the beginning stages and it's exciting, and we're building the blocks and putting the things together. The beginning of the year, I was talking about an app. I'm now busy developing the app. So it's those little things that's just changed. And I think it's because my mindset has changed. My mindset has been one of, life, bring it on. I'm ready for you. I want to experience everything you've got to give me. And how difficult can it be? So I'm fortunate. I'm not looking back with any type of regret. I'm looking back with, wow, I never saw this coming. This is totally out of the blue. That's very exciting. And that's my wish for 2026, is that I continue that I go into 2026 with all of this going, accomplishing it, but then sitting next year this time and saying to you guys, I didn't see this coming. That is what is exciting for me about 2025.
Sure. I love that. How difficult can it be? I think that's something that we should adapt to going forward, all of us. It's a wonderful thing that you just said. Thanks for sharing that, Russell. Let's go to Wilhelm. Wilhelm, what for you, looking back, what did you achieve and how did you do it?
I can just say what Russell has said now about how difficult can it be. That's where boer maak 'n plan come from. Boer maak always a plan. There's no problem that you can't solve. The problem that are not solvable doesn't exist. But okay, yeah. So for me, I asked the question, do I have quality of life or life quality? Life quality is maybe money, the cars, the house, the stuff, the material things. But that doesn't always say that you have quality of life, where you think about much more, your health, your relationships, your mental and emotional well-being, and then money as well, all those things, and your work and all those things. So the quality of life became a very important thing for me. And I decided at the beginning of the year, I want to put more into quality of life. And if I just think back, thinking of my kids, I wasn't this very successful businessman and all those things, because I choose to be there for my family. And now when I'm older and I got grandkids, my kids think I'm smart. They think I'm the best guy ever, and I'm not, but they think that, and that's the best reward that you can have. If your kids think you are smart, then you're smart. But if you can, the world can think you are quite smart, but if your kids think you are a fool, that's bad. So that's important for me to make sure that I look at all the different facets of life in balance, and that is what I achieved this year. Of course, there are certain things that I still want to achieve, and nothing is just a walk in the park. But that was the most important for me. And I must say, I think this past year, I achieved more on the quality of life side, and not just life quality. So that was my thing, and I've achieved it. I'm grateful for that.
Oh, well done. Great. Yeah, I know you really are a family person, and that's accolades to you. So well done for that. Yeah, I think from my side, I did achieve what I've set out to do, and how I did it was more on the lines of actually surrounding myself with the right people. Surrounding myself with you gentlemen, with having the right family members, Mana and her family, and having those people that support you, and having the right people around you who actually have got similar goals to yourself, have similar values, similar ideas. That has really helped, and helped me be more focused and to achieve more in my life than what I did before. And I think that's really important in life. If you don't surround yourself with the right people, you may find yourself not going in the right direction. So that's something that's where that's really helped me to understand that. And I can give you a few examples of it, but I'm not going to do it here on the platform. But yeah, it's I think surrounding yourself with the right people has really helped me to gain the focus that I need and actually do the right thing. I think that's really important, because when you've got a sounding board who says maybe you should not rethink that, and that they have the same values as yourself, then it helps. It really does help. So yeah, that's something that I've learned through this process. Let's go to the next step, and that is about what challenges did we face? What curveballs were thrown to us this year, and how did we overcome them? Let's start with you, Glenn. Glenn?
It's such an interesting question, this, because so many people look at the problems and challenges that they have and the issues, and they tend to get a little bit stuck. We often always ask how, and we shouldn't really start with the how. And there's been many challenges in this past year and in the past as well. There was one particular issue, though, that I've actually been struggling with for many years, and that is something which I think is quite an interesting topic, which again could take a couple of hours to discuss. But the topic is simply this: understanding kingdom finance. And I've been thinking about this, discussing it, talking about it, researching it. Not joking, probably about 38 years. And the interesting thing is that this year, for the first time, a light bulb went on, literally a couple of months ago. And I started beginning to scratch the surface on this issue. But I'm beginning to understand it better, and I'm beginning to see the fruit thereof. And it's really fascinating for me. It really is. If you look at it from a worldly perspective versus a kingdom perspective, and this can become a very debatable topic as well, I can understand on this platform too. So I'm not going to go further than that, but this is probably my biggest challenge, not just this year, but in years past as well. And really fully understanding that concept. And maybe I'll never really fully understand it, but the issue is for me that I'm getting there. There's things that are happening and things that I'm beginning to see light, and it's really quite fascinating. Really quite amazing. So that's me. Thank you.
Wow, Glenn. I think that's a subject for another discussion on this platform. I'd love to hear more about that. Sounds fascinating. Let's go to Russell. Russell, what were the curveballs and challenges you had?
That sounds good. Life has got a funny way of I don't know. It's just got a great sense of humor. Like I said, one of my rules that I made this year was to learn to say no. What this year has taught me is that I don't accept no. So it's a little bit of a contradiction to. So I've got the liberty to say no to things, but I will not accept no. So one of the projects that I'm busy with is this acquisition of this men's fashion brand. And I cannot tell you how many no's I've had from financial institutions. And I'm just will not accept a no. it's now gone to the point where I actually got into my car and went to a bank on Monday unannounced, went and sat in the reception until I spoke to someone. And it went off quite well. I'm waiting for the outcome. But my point that I'm trying to make is that the biggest challenge was my biggest lesson, was my biggest teacher this year. I go back, the last time I had an experience like this was, I was in the armed forces, still like most of you guys, we were in the military. I was in one side, which was Bloemfontein, and I got elected to be part of the leadership group called MLW, Mechanized Leader Wing, where we were trained to become platoon sergeants and so forth. And I remember we had a discussion right in the early stages when we found out now about what the timeline was for that year of our training. They said, and come October, you're going to walk fastbait. And we said, what is fastbait? And they said, well, guess what, dude? You're going to walk plus minus 150 kilometers in 3 days with full pack, with tote, with everything, a rattle spare wheel, a rattle tow bar, because I was mechanized infantry. And I thought, you got to be out of your mind. There's no ways the human body can do that. And those 3 days taught me the most lessons until this year, because those 3 days I learned what my body could do. I learned what mind over body, your mind, or how strong your mind is, where you have to just commit because you've got a choice. It's very easy. You've got one of two things. You sign off and you don't get your rank and you wasted a whole year, or you bite this bullet and you go through and you become one of the leaders of our armed forces, which I did. But this year, it's different in the sense of this year, it's intellectually taking me on. Because every time I get no, I have to reinvent the wheel. Every time I get no, I have to go and say, okay, well, I can't accept this. You know, why are you saying no? And then go and have a look at how I can strategize to overcome that. That's been my challenge. And I know we're going to touch on it just now. But the question does say, how did I overcome it? I overcome my challenges on Thursday night. Thursday nights, we have date night. And that's where Annalise and myself go to our local little pub. We have a couple of drinks and something to eat, and that's where I have my opportunity to talk. And whatever frustrates me in our marriage, whatever frustrates me in my business, in relationships, that's when we are totally objective with each other, and we enjoy the night and we share those things. My biggest trump card that I have, and I know that you guys know she sits here, and I say it in front of her and behind her back, my biggest trump card I have is my wife. And like Wilhelm with his family, this is my family. And every time I face a challenge and I want to give in, I think of my son and my daughter, which I want to bring into the company. It's my son, Annalise's daughter, but my child. And, you know, it is about the family. It's doing this for people that deserve to have the opportunities that I can present. So that's how I've overcome my challenges, and I know that's how I will overcome all the future challenges. I just go on date night with my wife, and I have my 2 cents worth, and she taps me on my shoulder and tells me I'm full of shit. So excuse the French, but you know, move on, get it. You know, just pick your pants up and move on. And that's the reality of where I find my success is in community, in family. Thanks.
Fantastic, Russell. Thanks for that. Yeah, no, date nights are important, and I think I'm a bit behind on my date nights. We need to catch up a bit there. Thanks for the reminder. Let's go to Wilhelm. Wilhelm, what were the curveballs that were thrown at you this last year, and how did you overcome them?
Yes, thank you, David. Yeah, you know, if personally, you know, we need to take responsibility for our lives and so on and so on. But my biggest thing is self-control, and I need to let God more in my life. So I need to really work more on that, because you can't control everything, and you will just burn out. So that is my challenge in the work space. Talking about my purpose, you know, I give hope to people. I want people to understand that they are unique, and they are special, and they can achieve a lot and so on. Sort of what Glenn also do. And the big challenge there for me is that people don't always believe what you tell them. They just don't get it. It take a while, and that's my challenge sometimes. You know, to my three words that's important for me as well is believe, behave, and become. So what you believe, it's like that seed that you sow in the ground. You know, vision boarding, we do the vision board and all those things where you put that seed in the soil, you look at the little picture on the flower, on the package, and you see the flowers. But when you see the seed, it's not, it doesn't look like the flower. It's a little ugly little seed. And you must really believe that when you take that seed and you put it in the soil, that it will become a flower. And talking about a challenge is that people start to believe what they really want, you know, and that's another important thing. Focus on what you want and not on what you don't want. So if you get the bad news of a disease or something, you must focus on what you want. Do you want the disease or do you want the healing? And if you focus on that, if you believe it's possible, then you need to behave, water the soil, and don't dig the seed out again and see, well, what happened now? Where's the flower now? But leave it there for a season, and then it become. When you look again, there's flowers, you know, and it become, and that is the mindset and the focus on what we want, not what we don't want. So that is a challenge for me sometimes when I work with people to really to get that. And of course, it's my challenge as well. I usually, when I do workshops and courses and coaching, I talk more to myself than I talk to the other person, because I need to work on myself more. You know, Jim Rohn said, if you want to become rich, you must work on your job. But if you want to have a fortune, you must work more on yourself. And that is what my challenge always is, to work on myself and to help other people to find hope and to believe in themselves and believe in what they can achieve. And then behave the way, that's your responsibility, to behave the way what you believe, and then it will become. And that is what happened this year, you know.
Fantastic, fantastic. I love that. The 3 B's, eh? Believe, behave, and become. Wonderful. Thanks for sharing that, Wilhelm. Yeah, so from my side, it's, the challenge is basically the letting go and letting other people actually, do and be the best that they can be. One example I'll give you is, I come from a project management background. I've project managed large constructions, high-rise buildings, casino developments, etc., etc. Also project managed, tenders, bids, all those things. So I've got a lot of experience in it. But when it came to a home project that we were doing, somehow I just didn't get it right. I've got no idea why. And I had to let it go, and I had to actually give responsibility of the project management of very simple thing actually to a family member, Anri. And I must say, she took it, and suddenly the development's now nearly complete, and it's all happened. But the fact of just letting go is just, letting someone else actually take on the reins and actually letting them show for them to shine has been a challenge for me. And, I've been doing that with letting go all these things that I'm not really good at, and understanding that I'm not good at them. For example, my accounting, my tax, not trying to do it myself, the rental of my properties, all those things I've had to let go. And by doing that, it's also freed me to be the person that I want to be, but also to do the things that I'm good at. So those are the challenges that I've had, and I think I've overcome them. And it's a constant thing of saying, okay, let that other person take on the reins. And I think that's the thing. And when you do that and there's trust, then it all happens. I see we're running out of a little bit of time here, but let's continue. The next thing I want to ask each of our panelists here today is, from your experience that you've now applied, and I'm not going to ask you what your challenges are and what you want to do for next year, but I'm going to ask you, what did you learn from this year that you will apply going forward for next year to achieve your vision and your goals for 2026? So let's start with Glenn. Glenn, over to you.
David, I think for me personally, it's been a case of, I often talk about vision and the power of vision and understanding that and realizing that, but at the same time about getting clarity about that vision. And so for me, I think one of the things that I need to change is get far more clear about the goal, far more clear about the vision, get absolute clarity about it. Beforehand, I see something, get an idea, put pen to paper, write it down, which is great. That's fine. That's all part of it. Set the goal and off I go. I think this time around, interesting enough, I'd actually made a decision that from the 1st of December, for the rest of December, I'm going to actually sitting down, spending time focusing on 2026 and really planning ahead and taking literally the whole month to actually plan. Whereas before, I would literally do it in a day, maybe 2 days. So I think for me, it's about getting really, really clear about what I want to do in the future and the vision, and then stepping forward in that and getting really focused. Pinhead focus versus pincushion focus. That's really what it's about for me. So thanks so much.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I've written down goals before and I've put them one side and they've happened. So it's all about writing down and, as you say, pin focused. Thanks, Glenn, for sharing that. Let's go to you, Russell.
I think my main focus is the momentum that I've built in 2025 is to take it to the full extent. Like I say, a lot of the projects haven't paid off any dividends yet. Some of them have, but to keep the momentum going. And the momentum is quite simple for me. My momentum is creativity, is to sit and to look at creative ways of being able to achieve what I want to achieve. And I think the other element that I really, really, really want to focus on 2026 is to back myself. I've got and Marna will know, I had a meeting with Marna a little while ago, and I was looking at helping her with something, and this led me into asking certain questions through my research with insurance. And then I started looking at a gap that I thought in insurance, and I then went and designed something. The long and the short is I haven't taken it to market because I doubted in it. And then I got a new member at my Friday club that's in the insurance game that I really trust, and I like the man intensely. He's just got a beautiful, beautiful nature. And I went to him and I said, I've designed something, but I'm kind of scared because I don't want to look like a fool, but I want to put it on the table. Anyway, the long and the short is that it's something that's really viable within the industry that I can build and so forth. I need to back my gut feel. My wife and myself being spiritual, we believe that we've got the 3 brains. You've got the brain, thoughts and knowledge and so forth. You've got the brain, your heart, which is, the passion that you have for stuff and that affection for what you're doing and so on. And then you've got the gut, which is the 3rd brain. And when those 3 are aligned, then you've got the right thing. So if you think it and you feel it and you know it, then do it. And that's my 2026 new focus point, is that when I have those things in place, and I have it quite often, is then to, back myself and believe that it's worthwhile. Specifically with the projects that I'm busy, because each project is unique in its own way. And I need to back myself in those and believe that how difficult can it be to do them. So that's 2026 vision. And I want to make it, my intention is to make it a habit, to not even think twice about it, to just react to it. So yeah, thanks, David.
Wow. Thanks for that. So aligning your head, heart, and gut. Love it. Thanks very much. Well, Helen, let's go through to you. What experiences will you take forward with you in the learnings for 2025?
Well, I think, yes, I think I really would like to focus on the things that I started this year, using AI more effectively, systems and tools to really to use that things to help me effective in my business. So that's important for me, that I really going to focus on. You know, there's a success recipe that I would like to work on, and the first one is to take action, to really take action on what you need to do. See your target, to keep it in my sight, and then to put the energy into it. And if you do that, it will definitely work. You know, so that is what I'm going to do in the new year to come.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. Yeah, we're a little bit running over time, but we'll just would like to finish. So if you could bear with us. If there are any questions or any comments from the audience, please write them down so that we can maybe have a look at those. I see Renee's already commented. Thanks, Renee. As far as myself is concerned, I think the big issue for me is trust. Trusting others. And learning to let go, and that's the learnings that I will take into 2025 is trusting, and also to be more calm, not to get so worked up about certain things. I think that's the other thing, and I think through the trust, the calm will automatically come. Let's go to the next question, and the next thing is really the most important. Who are we grateful for this year? Who are we grateful for? Who helped us to achieve the things that we've achieved? And I'm going to start with Glenn. Glenn, over to you.
Thanks, David. I think pretty obviously the very first issue is my relationship with God. That's definitely been amazing. Things that have happened this past year and in the past has just been incredible. And then obviously second to that is my family, my wife, my daughter, my son. And then thirdly is obviously the friendships that I've had and created over the past year specifically. Many of them come from Friday Club and Hammond, and just on this panel, and through this panel as well. It's just been incredible. It really amazes me every single time when you meet someone and you don't even have to know them for a very long time, and yet there can be an absolute genuineness about them. And it really is incredible for me to actually experience that. And I really think that we need to experience that more often. And I think that'll help you with the trust issue as well. Just really is amazing for me that I think most people out there really want to be genuine, really want to help others and have that kind of attitude. And I think trauma events, things that have taken place, taking offense, that type of thing has caused that wall. But the walls need to come down. We need to be far more open to each other and helping each other. It's amazing what can take place. So going into 2026, we need to do that.
Fantastic. Thanks. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's go to Russell. Gratitude.
I've got a list as long as a grocery list, but it also always starts with Annalisa. Annalisa is not just my wife, she's my best friend, she's my confidant, she is everything that I've ever wished for. And if anybody knows my background, you'll understand where I come from. So definitely there, but there's individuals that stand out as well. My late father-in-law was someone that listened to me. Very, very religious man. He was a church planter, and and Glenn knows I've got some very different thought processes about religion and so on. And, he listened to me and he never judged me. And in his eyes and in his heart, I could see true Christianity, from his perspective. And it brings value because the fact that he didn't judge brought value into my life about who I was, that I had the freedom to talk about how I see things. But then there's also people, and I have to mention someone like Glenn. I mean, Glenn I'm grateful for because Glenn gave me an opportunity. Yes, it was a difficult time for him when I offered my services in helping him to host Friday Club Pretoria East. But he allowed it, and he believed so much in me that he actually started giving over to me where I could do the Friday Club. and to the extent that I'm now, running Friday Club Silverton. And that opportunity that Glenn gave there opened up a life of, I cannot tell you the beautiful people I have at my club. I cannot tell you the relationships that we're building. I cannot even extend what I'm experiencing with those people sitting around the table, and just their persons and the value that they bring, each and every single one of them. And if it wasn't for Glenn allowing me that opportunity, I would not be, leading Friday Club Silverton, which has grown over the last 2 months. We battled to do 6, 7 people on a Friday. We now had our highest number of 31 last week. But the value add, and I know there's a lot of people, thanks guys, I know there's a lot of people saying it's the value that I bring, but they don't understand. It's not the value that I bring, it's the value that we all bring, because everybody sits around the table and discusses and talks and, shares, and the way they greet each other. It's just this community. And when you're looking at the psychology of sales, one of the psychology points is that we all want to belong. It's just human nature. That's why we've got our tribes and our families and so on. And so Glenn, and obviously to Alan, because Alan's allowed me to take Friday Club Silverton and run it into a total new direction and test it. And he's given me the opportunity to do that and show me a lot of grace, because I'm not following the normal standard Friday Club rules. I'm really throwing the boat upside down. But there's a lot of people. My mother-in-law, her love for me and so on is also inspiring. And it helps me to grow as a person and to grow as a businessman, because I've got this strong connection with these people that really are part of my tribe. And that's what I'm thankful for. But it starts also within. I had to make peace with myself and a lot of stuff. And I had to get to a place where I started believing in myself, because how can I expect anybody to believe in me if I don't believe in myself? And that was the first step of the journey. But that's thanks to my therapist. I know a brilliant therapist if anybody needs a holistic therapist. She's my wife, I know. But that's where the journey started. So that's my thanks. My thanks is, what I'm thankful for life, and I'm so grateful that I'm living this life. So that's my 102 cents worth.
Thank you, Russell. Well, what are you grateful for?
I can't actually add on that list. They mention everything. I can just say thank you for David. The fact that you actually drive this whole vision on LinkedIn, that is absolutely fantastic. Coming back to gratitude, I always say gratitude is the antidote for a bad attitude. So it's the pills for a bad attitude. The moment when you are thankful, then you drive the bad things away. It's like switching on the light. So my motto is, to every morning before I actually get out of bed, I try to think about 5 things that I can be thankful for. And when I do that, my head is lifting up and I'm ready to go into the day with another attitude. So that's what I'm thankful for life. I'm thankful for God, for the fact that I can breathe every day and just have friends like you guys and so on, and all the things that you've mentioned, not to talk about my kids, my grandkids, my wife, and so on and so on. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Brother Adam. Well, I'm grateful for all of you being here and your consistency in actually showing up every Thursday. I think that's what it's all about. This is, we are giving back to our communities, to our tribes. And, from my side, I'm also full of gratitude. I think gratitude is something that if you can only, be thankful for everything that you get. Every day we thank for the food that we get or that we're about to eat. And just being thankful for everything that we have and how, we're graced with all the gifts that we have and all the things that we have. So I think that's so important in our lives. So thank you, gentlemen. Thank you to Moana, who's not here, for her showing up. I think you guys have done a fantastic job this year, and I wish you all the best for 2026. And for all the people in the audience who've been here, who've supported us over the last 2 years. We've now been going for 2 years. Can you believe it? And we're going to go for 2026 as well. You'll notice that Vision 2025 is no longer Vision 2025 on LinkedIn. It's actually now Vision 2026. Why? Because next year is Vision 2026, and we need to start looking at next year. And so please follow us there. And what I'd like to now do, I see we've gone over time. I would like to just maybe, I see that a few people have commented. Thank you for those who've commented. Cindiana, Renee, thanks for commenting. But I'd like to just go around the room quickly and see what is our one-word takeaway from our discussion today. Glenn.
I'm going to go with the word freedom. Freedom. I think in everything that we've discussed, I think it's all about having freedom. Freedom in friendships, freedom in relationships, freedom in finances, freedom in everything, in work situations, you name it. Having that kind of freedom frees you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Russell?
Willem, I'm going to steal your sentence. I think it's brilliant. Gratitude is the antidote for bad attitude. Definitely, that's my takeaway. I love it. Thank you, Willem. I can definitely relate to that.
Fantastic. Willem?
Energetic life. This is energy. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thanks very much. Now, I must say there have been some nice takeaways today. Believe, behave, become the 3 Bs. Align your head, heart, and gut. How difficult can it be? I love that. Learn to say no, but learn not to accept no. I love that too. I think from myself is that we have a group of people, on our platform who are authentic. And I think authenticness is what it's all about. We are authentic. We're all open. We're not hiding things. We're talking it as it is. And I think that's basically a huge driver, not only for myself, but for others as well. So I'd like to thank you all for being here. We are going to meet next Thursday. We've still got a month to go. We probably won't meet during the December New Year period, but we will be here, and we'll join, and we'll see you as over the festive season, and then we'll go into 2026. And I wish you all the best. So take the points that we've discussed today, apply them in your own life, and let's see where it goes. All right, I've got the little video to show you again, so enjoy it, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, gents. Thank you very much. Bye for now. Have a fantastic week. Bye.
"12 months ago, what did you see when you looked ahead? What was your vision for 2025? Now here we are, a few weeks away from the end of the year, and the question is, what happened? Did it go the way you planned? Did you hit your stride? Or did life throw curveballs you never saw coming? What did you set out to do? Did you stay on track? Or did your path twist, evolve, or even unravel at times? Did you discover something better than you imagined? Or are you still searching for what truly matters to you? Pause with us for a moment. Breathe. Reflect. What did you learn about yourself this year? What are you proud of? Even if no one else saw it. Where did you show up differently? And what would you do differently in 2026? Your vision isn't a fixed destination. It's a living intention. This is your moment to recalibrate, reconnect, and realign. Because 2026 is coming, and it's a blank canvas. What will you do with it?